What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So today I just checked out Ready Player One, a movie that I've been looking forward to for a while now, just from seeing trailers, hearing about things, like the whole premise of the movie, right? The whole premise of it, the whole VR gaming thing, the avatars, the references for miles, sort of thing, like that stuff really kind of like, oh, okay, this movie looks interesting. Like I liked what I was seeing. I liked what I was seeing out of the trailers. I have not read the book. I will say that I have not read the book, so I cannot speak to how it plays with the book. Does it miss things? Does it not? Things like that. I'll leave that to someone who actually has read the book. But I was definitely looking forward to this film. Now, did it meet my expectations? But before that, I got to tell you guys about the review, like how this review is going to go. First half, no spoilers, okay? No spoilers. I will try and keep all the big stuff out. So it's completely safe. For those of you who have not seen the film, if you just want to kind of get a broad idea on how the movie went, how how I feel about it, is it worth going and seeing or not? Then we'll move into a spoiler section, and I'll tell you guys when we're going there. A little Kiwi will pop up, and it will, say spoilers on it. And yeah, so don't worry about it if you have not seen the film. I will not spoil it for the first half. Second half will be spoiler section. Okay? Alright. So did it meet my expectations? I think it did. I didn't have a high expectation for it. I was excited for it, but I could see things in the trailers like it was gonna follow down a kind of a predictable road. This kind of hero that has nothing, who's, kind of comes out of nowhere, and rises to the top, and, gets the girl, and gets the thing, and everything. The trailers kind of showed that off pretty well, and the story followed that pretty much to a T. It's that predictable, the hero who has nothing rises up and wins the day. Like that's the story in a nutshell. I think just for this movie, I think the world they did it all in, the world that this guy is a hero in, is super interesting to me. Super interesting to me. So the premise is 2045, world's kind of gone to shit. But the one good thing in it is that there's a badass VR game called the Oasis. Everyone plays it. Everyone plays it. I mean, like, people literally stop working. Like, this is where they spend, 90% of their time in the Oasis. Playing, doing whatever they want, like surfing, skiing down pyramids, like crazy shit. Like, car racing, all this stuff. Basically, every game you can think of, like every game mode, every genre, everything you can think of is probably in this game. Okay? And you go in there, you can look like anyone, you can sound like anyone, you can, pretend to be your favorite characters, avatars and all that. Like, you have all this stuff. And on the outside, people have, like, these suits that they can wear, like, the ones that are, like, kind of, they make enough money, they can buy these suits and stuff that, let you feel everything. These suits that even have crotch sensors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, you're all thinking, like, what the crotch sensor's for. Like, get your head out of the gutter. Like, this is something that I'm not talking about that. There is a moment in this movie, and it's not really spoilers, but, just for the guys out there. There is a moment in this movie where a guy gets kicked in the nuts in the game. And the suit replicates that actual pain. That is not good design. Okay? That is not a good design. Okay, I was just like, why would you design a suit where if you kick someone in the nuts, it hurts? Like, that's not cool. That's not cool. Like, you can, anywhere else, that's fine. It's not in the nuts. It's a no-go zone. But yeah. So this, like, these suits, they have, like, these multi-directional treadmills and stuff. They have gloves, everything. Basically, like, all this crazy VR stuff that we're seeing coming out that are like in prototype versions right now. That's basically like that, but mass produced and actually works properly and is actually, less of a gimmick like it is at the moment. And that is like the only way people play games, is this thing. And what happens is the big, head honcho of the Oasis, the main developer, he dies. He dies and he releases this video stating like, I've put an Easter egg in the game. Find 3 keys and you get my fortune and you get my stocks in the company, and you will run the Oasis. You can decide whatever you want to do with it. That's your place, your thing. And yeah, that was essentially what came to, like, that's where it all kicks off. And like our hero, he gets involved and yada yada yada. So yeah, the story is kind of like how you think it plays out. He gets involved. He gets, he becomes the front runner for this thing. You have the bad guys, who's this IOI, who's this other big company, like the second most powerful company to the company that runs the game, actually runs the Oasis. This other company, IOI, they're like the leech hanging on to it, and they make all the suits, they make the headgear, they make the gloves, they make all this stuff for it. And like they're putting like ads in there. They're the ones kind of like running the in-game economy, right? And for some reason, like the in-game economy in the Oasis is like taken over from actual money in the real world. And whenever like people want something, they can like, it's like Amazon drones. Like these drones that this IOI does, the drones go out and like deliver pizza. They deliver like things from in the game. Like if they purchase like actual like physical things for the real world in game, the drone will deliver it to you. That sort of thing. It's literally like Amazon. Like if Amazon took over the world, this is what it would be like. So yeah, that's IOI. And there's this big head honcho CEO guy who's, he wants to get this egg. He used to work for the developer. He was like an intern or something. And he was all about making the money and all that. He's like, he reminded me a little bit of, and this is for people who kind of know, the gaming companies and stuff. He kind of reminded me of like the head CEO guy of EA games, like that. Like every time I see him on like E3, like at the press conferences and stuff, he's like he just, I look at him and he's like a money vampire. Ben Middleton's character, he's basically that. He is like that. He's all about finding this egg. He's, brings in all these people. These people work for the company. They go in and all their job is go find the egg. Like they call them Sixers, and they're just like blank, like these like sort of just standard looking avatars. They have numbers on them. They call them Sixers because they have 6 in the name. And all they do every day, in and out, is go get that key to try and find the keys. And they spend 5 years trying to figure out how to get this key. But of course, here comes our boy. Here comes our guy who was like them, but he doesn't guild with people. He's not a guild. He doesn't guild up with anyone. He's, a typical. Like, I know people are gonna cringe at this a little bit, but he kind of reminded me of like Sword Art Online, that sort of thing. Like, oh, I don't guild with people. I am a solo player, but he has friends and all that. He just doesn't guild. Like, he's not that type of guy. And yeah, that's where it all kicks off from. Hero rises up, all the rest of it. Now, like I said, story very predictable. The effects, the graphics, the Oasis, how it all looks, how the CGI comes out, and like the definitely like face cap stuff, so well done, very very well done. Like a lot of it. Like there are a couple of moments, like there's literally like a level that they go into, right? Which is basically The Shining, the movie, right? They're in there, like they're avatars, but they're in the movie The Shining. They're the twins and everything, I was like, I hate horror movies. I absolutely hate horror movies. You'll never see a horror movie freaking review on this channel. But when that came up, I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, we don't need the horror shit. But there it was. And it looked good. Like, it actually looked good. And I will say that, you know, the Oasis stuff, a lot of it felt very busy. There's a lot of characters running around. And if you're like me, you're like, oh, that guy. Oh, that guy. And you can get lost in the scene a little bit. And you forget, like, there's actually a story thing happening. But the story is very predictable, so it doesn't really matter all too much. But the overall look of everything is fantastic. Like, I was very, very impressed with how they made the game look, how the avatars looked, all of it. Even the real world stuff. Like, I like the whole stacks thing. Like, they had all these camper van things all stacked up on top of each other. And, you know, they're like random, like, even like vans and stuff. People have vans stacked up there, and that's where they live. And it was very kind of cool. I like the whole layout of it all. And like even the rigs they set up to do the VR stuff, like there's literally like pulleys and everything, so they can like flip in the air and stuff. And it was interesting. It was interesting, an interesting setup there, because like that way they could like jump and dive and all that, and it doesn't hurt them. I liked all that stuff. I liked the look of the movie. The movie was very cool. Like all the gear, the way the gear looked, and then obviously in game and stuff, and how the game worked as well. Like it was very much like they definitely went to someone who knows video games, who knows how they all work. Like, I'm assuming they got game developers in there. Because, I mean, you got games like Blizzard in there. You even got, like, Minecraft. I mean, you got games from Capcom. You got a lot of different things there. You got Microsoft and all that. So, I'm guessing they would have got some input from them. To, like, how would this game look if we really made it? Like, there's, like, you know, the menu system, everything like that. It's very cool. It's a very cool thing. I would love it to be real. Maybe not as in depth. Like, I don't need to spend, you know, 20 something hours out of 24 hours of the day, like in this Oasis thing. But this is where I would like VR to get to. You know, is this a total immersive game that, you know, you can go off and do whatever you want and you feel like you're doing it and you don't feel like a weirdo just wandering around your room. You know, I think this is where, you know, the guys running these VR, you know, headsets right now, this is where they'd love to get to. It's just we're not there yet. So yeah, visually fantastic. Visually, the movie is a spectacle. It's a fantastic movie to go and I think it's worth going and seeing just for that. Especially if you're into this stuff, especially if you're into gaming, if you're into, you know, those 80s, 90s references. You know, there's modern references there too. Like there's Overwatch, there's like Halo and stuff like that. There's plenty of stuff there. And they're constantly referring to things. They're constantly like, you know, certain characters do certain things. You're like, I know that. Like, I know that from that movie. Oh, I know that from that TV show. Oh, I've seen that. You know, there's a ton of that stuff. You know, and they try and speak, you know, like gamer lingo and stuff. Like they call people noobs and like, you know, they do a lot of that stuff to kind of appeal. Like, hey, look, you know, they even refer to Twitch. They even like Twitch is, you know, still going in 2040 something. So there you go. Twitch still exists. Maybe like IOI was Amazon and they're like, yo, let's keep Twitch streams going. Because he's like a character that's apparently like real famous or something. One of the main characters. And our main guy is like, oh my god, I've seen her before. Like, I've watched all her videos. And I watched her Twitch streams. It's like, it was a random throw in there. And they do that from time to time. Like, there's a couple of random like gaming things where you're like, I see why you said that. Yeah. It's a little cringy in places, but most of the time it's okay. Most of the time it's okay. I didn't have too much problems with the actors in any way. Ty Sheridan, who was the main guy, he's pretty much like the guy that the audience connects to and like puts themselves in his place. Yeah, he's definitely that type of character where you could, like, oh yeah, if I imagine myself in that sort of position, like that's the character I would be, like the guy who comes up from nothing and all the rest of it, like that's the sort of thing. He has an interesting sort of backstory, like his parents are dead, this is the Oasis really all he's got. He's a major fanboy of the Holiday, who's the main CEO guy of the game who dies. He's pretty much that. He's okay. He's okay. Like, he has this big inspirational speech that didn't really grab me in any way. It's like, will you fight? And I'm like, most gamers would go like, oh, how much you gonna pay me, bro? Like, how much, what do I get? What's the loot? That would be like what most gamers would say. But nah, it was, he was okay. He was okay. He wasn't stellar in any way, but he was a good, lead that you could just follow along and, connect with, in a way. Like I said with Ben Mendelsohn, with the bad guy, basically typical douchebag CEO, who gets a little too big for himself, and the company seems to think they'll, beyond the law a little bit, like they literally trap people. Like, they have people like imprisoned there, and they call them like loyalty centers. Yeah. They're like, yeah, that was pretty weird to see. And yeah, like Wade Watts, like he has this group of friends that is there, and they're like fighting alongside him. You have Olivia Cook's character there, Artemis. She's the girl that you see in the trailers a lot. The one that dances with him and all that. She's very cool. She's like she's probably the more badass character, I would say. Like, she's probably far better at the game than he is. Like, that's definitely the thing. Like, and yeah, I liked her a lot. You got a friend as friend H. H is cool. H is very cool. I like them a lot. There's some interesting things that go on with H. I like the look of him though. H is very cool. He's like this sort of cyborg type avatar. But there's something interesting about their actual real life character, which is kind of, it's very gamer like the fact that people can be anyone, like that was kind of cool. Then he's got a couple of friends too that hang out. One's a badass samurai looking guy, and one's a ninja. And they sort of hang around together. They solve these riddles together, which is cool. Also, you got Simon Pegg in there. Simon Pegg, I thought, he's pretty much, he's all over this pop culture stuff. He loves it. He's into Star Wars, he's into Star Trek, he's into all this stuff. Yeah, his character, I would say characters, once you figure out, who he is kind of cool. Mark Reliance, which is basically the crazy CEO guy that dies. I honestly think they portrayed him as like what they think every game developer's like this kind of like crazy. He's kind of like Steve Jobs and a game developer mixed into one. He's kind of, not that Steve Jobs was like that, but he's a little bit of a shut-in. He's a little bit, nervous around people. I think that's where the game developer thing, like that's what the people think game developers are. These kind of nerdy shut-in guys, but they're not. At least not all of them. Like, yeah, that was basically him, and he has some funny moments. I quite like him. He kind of played this sort of kind of cool overlord character. Yeah, they kind of like, they hoist his character up as like this savior of humanity for creating this game that takes them out of reality because the reality is so shit. Like that's essentially where it's at with him. But I did like Mark Reliance. I thought Mark Reliance did a good job. But yeah, the acting's pretty good across the board. I had no problems with the acting whatsoever. I think the characters were all pretty cool too. I just felt like you got lost in the world. You got lost in this world of the Oasis, which I think is what they wanted to do. But I think if the story was more engaging and was more interesting, I think it would have made you focus on those characters a little more, other than looking around seeing all the cool stuff. I think that's probably what it comes down to. But yeah, I mean, just sort of kind of wrap it up here before we head into the spoilers section. Visuals are great. Visuals are fantastic. Story is very predictable. Characters are very good. What they're meant to do, they do well. The acting's really good across the board. The writing, they're definitely trying to get as many references in they can, like gaming references, different, terms and stuff that, they think gamers use a lot. Yeah, they do a lot of things like that. It can get a little cringy in places. I will say the ending is very, like, cringy. It's very, like, cliche. Like, yeah. And, like, the sort of climactic moment of the bad guys sort of arc, it kind of peters out. It's not so good there. I was a little disappointed in what happened with him. But yeah, that was kind of my problem there. A lot of it was story based. A lot of it felt like the main character was very protected, very, very protected. You can see the plot armor all over him. A lot of things like I predicted, like right at the start of the film, comes true. Like there is no real twists or turns. It's a very basic story that you can pretty much peg right off the bat. But it is an enjoyable story. I will say that it is an enjoyable story. It is something that, I don't mind, listening to. It's that, typical hero comes from nothing, rises to the top, to take on the bad guys. Like that's, it's a tale of as old as time, really. It's a tale that we've heard a lot, but I don't mind. And it works with this type of thing. Because a lot of games do that. And a lot of people, like, they very much played on, like, people are in this game because they want to be someone different. And anyone can be as strong as they want to be in these games. And that's true in most video games as well, is that anyone can be as strong as they want as long as you put in the work, especially for likes of, those sort of MMORPG games. For MMORPGs, the more time you put in, the more hours you put in, the stronger you are, type thing. So they definitely played on that a lot. Is it worth going to see? Yes, it is. I would say it's worth going to see. I think the visuals make it worth going to see right off the bat. I think if you're into this type of thing in any way, if you want to see the references, you want to see that stuff, I think it's worth it for that as well. It's a very cool, spectacular looking movie that you'll come out and go like, I enjoyed myself. It's not mind blowing in any way. It's not, it won't change your life in any way. The main thing that when I came out, I was like, man, I wish this game was real. Because it looks cool as hell. I don't need to spend that much time in it. But if this was the future of VR gaming, it would be very cool. It's just VR gaming's not there yet. So that's kind of the thing that got me going on, that coming out of the movies on that one. Also, the music's actually kind of good too. They put a lot of like sort of 70s, 80s, 90s music in there as well. I grew up, in the 90s, so a lot of this stuff I heard, a lot of it is, things that I grew up with, so that kind of resonated with me a lot. And yeah, so the music's good. It kind of goes between orchestra and that sort of stuff, so I like that. On a scale-wise, for me personally, I put this around an 8. I think it's above average. I think it's a really good movie. I enjoyed myself. I would go back to see it. I think for someone who may not be so into this stuff, it might come down a little lower on the scale. But for me personally, it's definitely an 8. I think if the story was better and a little more twists or turns or something like that, I don't know if it's like that in the actual book, but I'd probably put it up a little more. And likes of getting lost in scenes and stuff, yeah, that probably knocks down a couple of pegs. But it is definitely a strong 8, pushing on 9 for me. Definitely a must see. Like, I definitely think go and watch it. I think it's well worth a watch. Yeah, that's my opinion on it anyway. We're gonna head off to the spoiler section now. So for those of you who have not watched the film and do not want to be spoiled, this is where me and you part ways. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. We are pushing for 1,000 subs here on the channel. Just trying to hit that new YouTube restriction for the YouTube Partner Program. So would appreciate it if you hit that sub button. It'd be mighty fine to use. I'd thank you very much. But yeah, we are heading into spoilers, the spoiler part now. So if you do not want to be spoiled, probably turn the video off now. You know, for those who have seen the film, want to kind of, get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty stuff, stick around. We're heading right there now. So little Kiwi will pop up, like over this side. And that will say when we're heading to spoilers, okay? Alright. So, spoiler section incoming. Alright. Spoiler section. Where I'm not limited to what I can say. So, for me, this movie, like, it has spoilers, but a lot of it you could have just probably pegged out of the, the trailers anyway. Like, a lot of, that's why I don't think I had too big expectations on this film, because I felt like I'd already seen the film with the trailers, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Not like I was spoiled because of it. It was just like from the tone that the trailers were setting and the tone that I was, the story I was picking up from the trailers, it kind of just played out the way I thought. So, yes, he wins. Yes, he wins the Easter egg. Yes, he gets to the end. Yes, he gets all the keys. He gets all this stuff. He gets control. He keeps it going. The only thing is that he shuts down the Oasis every Tuesday and Thursday. Server maintenance, man. I mean, like, every game has that. Normally it's only for a couple hours, but they shut it down for a couple of days. Probably a good thing. I mean, like, people, like, in that world have to kind of get to work. That world is a mess, man. Absolute mess. But, yeah, he wins. He gets the girl. He has all his friends come in and help him. The high five, like, yes, like that's the name they call them. And like, did you guys notice at the end, like when everyone's there in the stacks and everyone's there and he comes out of the bus, they already had signs. They already had like signs up that said, "Yay, high five, go high five, go Parzival." You telling me that you just quickly like, oh wait, he's here, quick, quick, make the signs, go, go, go. It felt a little weird. It felt a little weird, that one. But I think like the ending was a bit meh. Like even when the bad guy got there, right? Even when Sorrento got there and he had the gun pointed at him, and he sees the glow, and he sees Wade crying, and it's like, the Grinch's heart grew 10 times the size that day.
But the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And then the true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Grinch found the strength.
Like that's literally what happened. The guy literally goes like, he's gonna kill him, and he's like, like, I couldn't believe that. Like, you've been a badass, like, freaking bad guy this entire time. You've been a grade A douche. And now you freaking grow a heart? Like, it was literally that. Like, I don't know if he thought, like, ah, damn, he got it. I'm done. I can't do anything there. It's just they didn't explain anything in that way. It didn't explain anything. And then suddenly the police show up. And the police have not been seen this entire freaking movie. Like, literally an entire area of the freaking stacks blows up. Police are not to be seen. There's car chases. There's freaking people, like, shooting and drones. And there's, this freaking army running around, ransacking places. Police cannot be found. Police cannot be found. But they wind up at the end. So that was a little weird. But for me, like, it was not the ending. The ending is a bit meh. But it's how they got there, right? So, First challenge, the race. I thought the race was cool as hell. Like the first thing they do with that, where they do the whole race and they show it off. They freaking got, it's like wacky races or freaking was it Death Race? It's with Jason Statham and stuff like that. Was it Jason Statham? One of the two. But like, the freaking people blowing up everywhere. It was like freaking burnout going on. It was freaking awesome. Like, I loved that one. I loved that challenge. But then like of course Parzival figures that, and he's like, he goes to that archive and figures out like exact moment in time where like Holiday goes, when he wants to go, I think he's parting with his friend, and he's like, man, I wish I could just go backwards. Really step on the gas and go backwards. And yeah, apparently if you just reversed at the start, you would have got to the end. It was pretty crazy, that one. Like I was just like, all right. But I did like how when they went backwards, you could see how the program was putting the traps in. It was like behind the scenes. It was like, I liked that. I did like that one. But I mean, I liked when like the DeLorean, I liked the, freaking, the bike from Akira and stuff like that. That was cool. That was cool. And that kind of showed off how cool like Artemis was. Like, I liked her far better than I liked Wade. She was far cooler. And she was better at the game than he was. That's for damn sure. Then I guess it's the second challenge, which kind of starts at the dance club. Like they, find out that like it's referring to Holiday and kind of like his long lost love. Like he went out with this girl. Like he went on this date with this girl, and he kind of like chickened out with her. Like, he didn't kiss her, and they kind of like fell apart. And his partner, like his game, the guy that he was making the game with, she ends up becoming his wife. So there you go. That's some crazy. That would drive you into a game right there. He, that all linked into that, and they go to the dance club, and that was kind of cool. I liked that. I liked seeing all the, the avatars and stuff, and how they're sort of dancing around and all that. And the freaking Bee Gees comes on. That was cool. And then they, that obviously, and then, the crazy shit happens there and all that. And then they figure out like, no, it was actually the movie they went to see. And they looked at like, which movies he went to at that time. And it was like, it was the freaking Shining. I was like, God damn it. Like, I don't need to see parts of the freaking Shining and the crazy freaking axe lady and everything. Like, I know that's not it. Like the zombie lady's not in in it in any way, but no, no, I hate that shit. I hate it. I don't go to horror films. I hate them. Like me and H was like, I feel you. I know what you're going through. So yeah, I mean, I like that and how it linked to his first game, like how it was apparently like a zombie circle or something, and how Kira was, she was the key. Like, she literally was the key. She was in the middle of these zombies, and Artemis had to jump around these dancing zombies in the middle of the air to get to her, and she became the key. I liked that. I thought that was a cool challenge. I liked it. And I liked how they merged, like, the CGI avatars into an actual real-life movie. Like, that was cool. And then I guess it's the big final battle at the end. Which was like a crazy mess of shit going everywhere. It really was. It was like stuff, like people and like freaking characters, and shit going everywhere. And Chucky gets thrown out the window and starts hacking all the pieces. And freaking Mecha Godzilla fucking shows up. And then the Gundam, the Gundam takes on Mecha Godzilla. That was cool. That was cool. And then the Iron Giant takes him on afterwards, and I like that. I like that a lot. I thought that was cool. But everything else was like just insanity, mosh pit mess going together. That was really it. It still looked cool, and it was still a pretty cool climactic scene to the actual movie, to the Oasis part of the movie. But yeah, it was pretty busy, like, holy shit, neon freaking laser beams going everywhere and all the rest of it. So I like that. And then how like adventure was like they bought like all these old games, and like you had to figure out which old game you had to play, and what to do in that old game. And like, of course, IOI thinks, oh, you got to win the game. Nah, man, you gotta like just play the game. Sometimes playing the game isn't about winning the game. And of course, the big thing about like this game is like this was the first game that an Easter egg was put into a game. And it was the actual developer's name. Like he hid his name and he put this Easter egg in there to actually like, that was how you figured out what his name was. And I like that. That was a nice like, sometimes it's not about winning the game. Sometimes it's just about playing the game. Like that was, a little cheesy, but no, it was a nice little thing there. But yeah, I mean, the challenges I liked. I thought they were cool. I just think the overall story was just very predictable. Like H, right? Like, man, like pretty much right from the start, I was like, man, that guy's a girl. That guy's a girl. You could hear it in her voice. Like, I knew that she was gonna turn up and be a girl. I knew it right from the start. Because that's like the whole point. That's like the whole point of being like having avatars. It's the whole point of having your own characters, that you can be anything you want. So yeah, that was, I knew that was gonna happen. I knew he was gonna get the girl. Like that was not gonna be a thing. There was a moment there where I thought like maybe Artemis was playing him a little bit, but that didn't work out in any way. IROC, which is TJ Miller's character, I thought he was kind of cool. He looked badass. Him with the sphere. And I liked how he interacted with Sorrento as well. Like I liked him. That kind of how he made fun of him. He was like, Sorrento's like this guy who's literally like pay to winning. He's like just throwing all his money at it, like, and then like IROC's like, all right, you want this item? How much you gonna pay me? Like, pay me, all this. I'll get it for you. Like, he's basically a merc. He's a merc. But he looked badass, and his gun was badass, by the way. And then Simon Pegg being the curator, like he was actually playing the game. Like he was, he got kicked out. He made, him give up his shares. So he would, I don't know if he like got completely kicked out of the company, because he was still a part of the company in a way, I think. Or is that was just the lawyer showed up? I don't know. Because, I mean, Holiday made him give up his shares so he would become the big boss. And that's where their friendship sort of fell apart. But it was kind of cool that he was still there, and he was like, that you thought was just an NPC was actually Simon Pegg, which was kind of cool. I liked the like, I can't remember what they called him. It was basically like the Ask Jeeves guy. That's what he reminded me of, like the look of him. He looked like the Ask Jeeves guy. But yeah, he was cool. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of too many other big spoilers there. Like, I mean, like overall, just a lot of it was very predictable, like I've been saying. A lot of it was very on the nose. There was nothing that was like, when you heard it was like, oh my god, I never thought that was coming. Like none of that was there. But it was still enjoyable. I still had a good time with it. I still think it's a must-see. I think it's well worth going to watch just for the actual look of everything, especially if you're into this type of stuff. Like if you're into gaming in any way, or into pop culture, any type of movies, and all that stuff. It's got a lot of that. That's really cool. And it's just a good time. It's a good time. Like, I enjoyed my time watching this film. I mean, it's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I think 8 out of 10, well worth going and see. I think it's worth the money going to watch it. But yeah. Alright guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Like I said before we head into the spoilers section, we are pushing for 1,000 subs here. Really want to get past that new YouTube restriction for the partner program. So we're making that big push. So hopefully we can get there. So if you are thinking about subscribing, would appreciate it if you hit the button. That'd be awesome. But comments, likes, dislikes, that's all there. You guys know how to use YouTube. It's all there. And yeah. So I hope you guys having a good day, good night, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.